Now, from your breaking news leader, with your certified most accurate forecast, this is KKTV 11 News Special Edition.
Part of what we love about doing this is being able to share it with others. It is a pretty magical sport. I don't say that lightly. Like, it's a pretty magical sport. I've been doing this for a long time, and it never doesn't amaze me that, we're floating around in a bag of hot air in a basket.
The Labor Day liftoff is here. It is one of the best events in Colorado Springs, and we are so excited to sponsor this for another year. Thank you for joining us for this KKTV 11 News Special Edition, live from Memorial Park. I'm Danielle Kreutter.
And I'm Mark McPherson. We are live here at the park for the 45th annual Labor Day liftoff, and we have an absolutely beautiful morning for this. And he was right in that soundbite. This is a magical event to see all these balloons take off.
Yeah, especially when you see them floating right above you. This is actually our first Labor Day liftoff. Your first time in Memorial Park at Colorado Springs.
Yeah, and we're so close to where the balloons are taking off. They take off very close over your head. It's pretty spectacular. We want to take a live look right now. One of our crews is live closer to the balloons where they're inflating. The first round kind of took off about an hour ago, but there's now kind of a second wave of these taking off, and it is truly impressive. My favorite so far has been the 11 News balloon.
Yeah,
maybe
beautiful, majestic.
Yeah, maybe I'm
no
biased.
notes. And we want to show you some video we first took about an hour ago when the first launch happened. There are nearly 80 balloons from all across the country here this weekend. Many of them took off about 30 minutes ago. It is so cool to see them all flying around Colorado Springs.
Yeah, one of them actually dipped into the lake, which I've never seen before. That was a little scary, but very impressive. If you're wondering what it looks like from above, check this out. One of our crews got a chance to take off in one of the balloons yesterday. There you see it. We live in a very beautiful area, so be able to see it from the air is pretty great. Our reporter that was up there said it's just amazing. So we're going to show you some of those views a little bit later on in the show. You definitely don't want to miss that.
And we want to show you now what the schedule is for this weekend. If you want to come on down to Memorial Park tonight and tomorrow night at 7, you can see the glows. Now that is when the pilots inflate the balloons and ignite their burners in the dark. It is so cool to see the whole park with balloons lit up. The park is open before then, and actually some of our evening team will be out here tonight and tomorrow night, so you might see them out here if you come. And if you want to see the balloons lift off but didn't make it out here this morning, they will launch again tomorrow and on Monday morning starting at 7. But make sure to get out here early, though, for those events, because you do have to find parking, and also the traffic around Memorial Park is pretty tough as well.
As we mentioned, this is our first liftoff, and we love it already. It's such a great event, but the traditional format of the liftoff here at Memorial Park definitely took a 2-year break because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and so we're joined by 11 News anchor Adam Atchison. You actually spoke to the organizer about those changes.
It's good to be back, guys.
It is, yeah.
A lot of fun out here. Yes, in short, Scott Appleman, who organizes the event, directs the event, considers this a celebration of sorts. So do many of the other pilots. But with the big crowd that's expected out here on this field all weekend long, they're asking us to remember COVID-19 is still circulating in our community and keep safety in mind when you're out and about with a bunch of other people.
We're going full steam ahead.
Walk the field in Memorial Park with Scott Appleman, and you'll understand why this year's Labor Day liftoff is set to be a special one. It's been 2 years since balloons and pilots from all over the U.S. filled Memorial Park.
Last year we did an abbreviated thing with about 35 or 40 balloons spread all over the city. We're really glad that we're all back here at the park.
Appleman says ballooning is a social sport, and that camaraderie with crowds of curious onlookers is why nearly 80 pilots are returning to fly against one of the most beautiful backdrops in the country.
All of us being spread out and not having that camaraderie, it's created a gap. I think it has on all of us.
In 2019, about 150,000 people attended the Labor Day liftoff. Appleman's hoping for a similar size crowd this year. And despite most local COVID-19 restrictions being lifted, organizers are asking everyone who attends to be courteous and use common sense. Masks are not required, but it is okay to wear one. Hand sanitizing stations are positioned throughout the park, and Appleman says there's plenty of room for people to spread out and give each other space.
This will probably be one of the larger events that's happened in Colorado or the southwestern United States. We want to make sure that we make it as safe and fun as possible.
And after a long wait, organizers hope the return of this year's premier ballooning event in southern Colorado inflates imaginations.
It's been a long draw. It really has. And this is part of the cure, and we're really looking forward to being part of it.
Part of the cure. That's an interesting way to put it. I love this event, and I know so many other people do. I've been covering it for years here in Southern Colorado, and there's a unique enthusiasm this morning among the crowd. I had a chance to welcome everybody on stage, and that big cheer that you got when you say, is it good to be back together? It's palpable out here. It's a lot of fun.
After everything we've all been through as a community, this is really great. We just watched another balloon touchdown in the water, and there was a huge cheer.
Yeah,
So that camaraderie is
so
here.
great.
Yeah, now, Adam, you covered the balloon event called the Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque for a lot of years.
Premier ballooning event in the entire world.
Yeah.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people show up down there. A lot of these pilots do that too, and they participate in a lot of the events around the world. But Albuquerque's very serious about its ballooning.
Yeah, and through that coverage, you've actually learned all the technical terms for all the pieces of the balloon, which I didn't even know existed.
I guess that makes me kind of a ballooning nerd.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you can impress your friends by knowing that the actual balloon, the material part of it is called an envelope. That's the technical term for it. And then the basket that so many people might refer to as a basket where the people ride in, 2 or 3 people, is called a gondola. Kind of like the ski resorts here in Colorado. So there you go. Take that home to your family.
You were sharing some more of that knowledge beforehand, so we got to talk to you about this today.
Well, enjoy it. Come down to the park with us. It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, Adam, thank you very much.
Now, the weather also plays a very important role in making sure these balloons can get in the air and this event runs smoothly. We want to check in now with meteorologist Sydney Jackson, who's back in the studio with more on how that's affected. Sydney.
Thanks so much, guys, out there at Memorial Park this morning where those balloons successfully launched. We're getting a look here from our Cheyenne Mountain camera. You can see a couple balloons here off in the distance. We've been watching those balloons floating in the sky throughout this morning. So happy we had a successful launch. We did wake up to a little bit of cloud cover, some low clouds in the area. Visibility has since improved across southern Colorado, and right now we're not feeling too bad. A little bit on the cool side, though. If you're stepping out the door, maybe headed out to Memorial Park, we're in the 50s and 60s for many of us. We're at 66 in Canyon City, 61 in Colorado Springs, 59 in Denver, 66 in La Junta. We're also feeling very calm winds right now. That also helped with that successful launch of the balloons this morning. And throughout the day today, we're looking at pretty calm winds. But I want to talk about some changes on the way this evening. Storm chances will return later on tonight around the time of that evening glow. So we'll be watching that very closely. But throughout the day today, you can plan on 70s, and we're looking at a drier pattern ahead for us into Sunday and Monday. I'll have more on your forecast coming up here in just a little bit, but we'll go ahead and send things back out to our crew at Memorial Park this morning.
Sydney, thank you so much. So if you do come on down to the event,
Yeah, we got a lot of balloons that we're seeing out here. You and I, Danielle, have been picking some of our favorites here so far this morning. So all throughout this newscast, we're going to show you some of these balloons. This one took off a little bit a while ago. It's piloted right here in Colorado Springs by David Heddick, who has flown it for more than 50 times. Just a beautiful balloon. This Pepsi balloon is being flown by Patrick Fogue. He's from Columbia, Missouri, and has flown it for 42 years. That's a little bit skinnier of a balloon, and Adam was telling us earlier some of these skinny balloons are racing balloons. Pretty cool fact about Patrick. He's also flown around the world in Thailand, Malaysia, China, Jamaica, and Canada, just to name a few places. And Neil Smith is flying Hotel Elegante balloon right here. He's from Albuquerque. He has been doing this for about 28 years. There you see the balloon, very colorful there. He says he loves sharing the joy of the most basic of flying.
yeah, and while those balloons are so gorgeous, you'll actually see some pretty unique style balloons. We already have seen some this morning when you come on down to Memorial Park.
Yeah, we had a chance earlier this week to talk to a couple of the pilots and see their very unique balloons.
I was just really inspired by it.
Meet Chris Liberty and Zach Burgess.
I got my license to fly in 2007.
They are two of the many pilots who will take to the skies this weekend.
I've been involved with this for the better part of almost 38 years now. So I've been around ballooning for quite a bit.
Chris is bringing decades of experience to the liftoff, and among all those balloons, he won't be hard to spot.
We're going to be flying a massive 100-foot tall sloth. And the sloth is hugging a tree branch. So it's interesting. Like on the iPhone emoji, it looks almost exactly like that.
I started in ballooning when I was 9 at a local festival here in Ohio. It's a fun thing to do for me and my family, and we travel around and get to see a lot of cool places and meet a lot of great people.
Like Chris, Zach's balloon is different. He'll take to the skies in something usually found in the sea.
I have the special shaped crab, Claude. The crab stands about 100 feet tall and is about 100 feet wide. So he's definitely a king crab.
Both pilots are anxious to get back in the skies and show off their impressive balloons after the pandemic. And new to Labor Day liftoff this year, you can find radio-controlled hot air balloons after the morning launches and before the evening glows.
Yeah, this is one of 10 RC balloons. You can see, even though they're smaller than the original, they range in size. Some are between 10 to 20 feet and are flown using a liquid propane burner.
You and I were talking about this before. When we pictured radio-controlled balloons, we pictured like maybe a couple feet high.
Yeah,
those are very
pretty
impressive.
big.
Well, so how did this all begin? Well, how did we get 80 balloons in Memorial Park all at the same time? We want to introduce you to the man who started the Colorado Springs Balloon Classic long before it became the Labor Day liftoff.
Yeah, it actually started as a small event just for some of his buddies at work. That was back in 1974. We sat down with him and his wife recently.
And so I still get that feeling just watching them take off. Even if I'm going to fly, watching others take off is a kind of an emotional thing for me.
Balloons make people happy. I mean, really, you look at everyone and they're smiling. So it's a terrific thing.
And this is a look inside the couple's home. There are pictures, figurines, wall art, medals, and more. You can see why they've become known locally as the Balloon People. They tell us balloons bring in sponsorship funds from local businesses, and over the years, he estimates over $100,000 has been given back to local charities.
But the Balloon Classic was a way for us to pay back Colorado Springs because when we grew up here, encourage people to come out and be happy. We're ready for some happiness in Colorado Springs.
Yes, we are.
And this is so cool. His 91st birthday was actually just a few days ago.
Yeah, he and his wife jokes every year that this is his big birthday party, right?
Because
it happens so close. Yeah, I want a birthday this big. So we've got much more live coming up from this event here at Memorial Park. We'll be right back.